So here's a trivia question. How many manufacturers do you believe there are in GTA Online? A, 15, B, 28, C, 43, D, 60, or E, a lot? It might be kind of obvious, but there's actually 60 different manufacturers in GTA Online. And of course, I'm going to be talking about each one, the name of them in game, what they're based off of from real life, how many vehicles fall under said manufacturer, and while I talk about each one, if there is more than 5 in that manufacturer, I'll be showing off 5 vehicles that I find unique or have some significance or, you know, whatever it may be. I don't think I have anything else to say, so let's get started. This is going to be a pretty long video. Starting in alphabetical order, we have Albany. These are based off of Cadillacs from real life, and there is a total of 20 vehicles in this manufacturer. Now, 5 vehicles I chose from here is the VSTR. This is a very good 4-door sports car in the game. We have the Hermes, which is actually based off of, I believe, a Hudson in real life. You can make it look pretty similar to Doc Hudson from Cars. We have the Lurcher, which is a Halloween exclusive vehicle. I wish I had this in GTA Online, but I unfortunately don't. We have the Frankenstein, same thing. Halloween exclusive, one of the best sounding vehicles in the entire game, at least in my opinion. And I actually do own this, so it's pretty cool. And lastly, we have the Buccaneer. I just put this here because everyone knows it. It's on the street, you can steal it for free, and it's pretty damn common to come across. Next up, we have Enus, based off of Nissan and Mazda. There's kind of a mix in a lot of these different manufacturers, and there's a total of 18 vehicles in here. We have the SAD-RR. I just find this to be a pretty cool vehicle to drive around. I don't personally own it, but it's a race car, Le Mans car, whatever. We have the ZR380. This is an arena war vehicle, and if you buy the Apocalypse variant, you can make it look like a normal street car. So you can put like turbo on it and all that stuff, and it can go very fast, and it looks very nice. We have the Silvestro, which I just think has a really nice looking wide body on it. And unfortunately, I think it was removed off the website, so you can't purchase it. LG Retro Custom, kind of a no-brainer. Very, very nice looking car in the game based off of an R32, and pretty much everyone owns one. The RE7B, another race car in real life, Le Mans car, I believe. This used to have a speed glitch way back in the day when it released, like 2016. Unfortunately, that was patched out like a couple weeks into its life cycle, but still, I think the car looks nice. Benefactor, which is one of the bigger ones in the game, based off of Mercedes-Benz in real life. There's a total of 28 vehicles. The LM87 is kind of a no-brainer for me. One of my favorite cars in the entire game because it's really fast, good handling, looks nice, stock wheels, actually look like proper race car wheels. It's just a great vehicle. We have the Dubsta 6x6. It's an OG vehicle back in the day. You needed to get rank 100 to unlock it, and it's one of the very few 6x6 vehicles in the game, so I think it's pretty cool. The Krieger, just a very good car all around. Good handling, good speed, it looks nice. I wish that the wheels were a little bit wider on it because it kind of looks a little bit strange, but still, nice vehicle. We have the Terabyte. Everyone knows this because if you have an Oppressor Mark II, you pretty much have to own a Terabyte, and you can start up a lot of businesses through here, like all the biker businesses, hangar, cargo, all that stuff. And then we have the BR8, Formula 1 car in the game, and that's kind of it. I mean, I just chose it because it's a Formula 1 car. We have BF, which is based off of Volkswagen, and there's a total of 11 vehicles. The Weevil Custom, I know it may look goofy in the gameplay, but it's one of the best vehicles in the entire game. Off-road, high speed, on-road, high speed. The handling is kind of hard to get used to, but it's still a phenomenal car. The Dune FAV is just a weaponized dune buggy. It's pretty shit in the game, and if you do bunker cell missions, it also can just ruin your day. Because if you get 4 of these for a bunker cell mission, you can't do it solo. We have the Raptor, which is one of the rare 3-wheeled vehicles in the entire game. That's kind of why I put it on here. The Bifta, I think one of 4 vehicles that were added in the very first DLC to this game, and I think that it's still a pretty decent off-road vehicle. Of course, they can't really hold up that well when there's, you know, phenomenal vehicles nowadays. Then we just have the Surfer. Just kind of a hippie van, whatever you want to think of. And I think it looks kind of nice because it has a really glossy look to it, but it's really fucking slow. We have our first manufacturer that only has 2 vehicles, being Bollokan, based off of Hyundai's in real life. We have the Prairie, which is just a street car. Now you can steal it off the street for free from NPCs. And I don't have gameplay for this because it's not available in the mod menu in story mode, but it's the Envisage. Probably put a picture on screen now of it. I think it looks pretty cool. Another big manufacturer being Bravado, based off of Dodge. And there's a total of 31 vehicles in this manufacturer. The Dorado, which Dodge Durango, I think I might be completely wrong about that, but in the game it's overpriced. I think it's pretty good, but it's kind of weird that it took this long to add this vehicle in the game. We have the Hellfire, one of the best muscle cars in the game. It looks nice, sounds great, a lot of customization to it, and pretty much everyone has one. The Half-Track, kind of a unique case where it's not used a lot, but if you get the research unlocked in the bunker, I think you can put like a flak cannon on it, It can take a lot of rockets, and it's just a great vehicle if you have friends to utilize it to its max potential. The Buffalo S, you never see this driven by NPCs. I think the only time you're ever really going to see it is if you play story mode, because it's Franklin's main vehicle. It's removed off the websites as well, but I think that it's just a good vehicle to have. And then we have the Banshee 900R, one of the fastest top speed supercars in the game. You could also use it for drifting and all that. And it's also one of the rare cars that can be converted into a completely different vehicle class from sports car to supercar. We have Brute, which only has 5 vehicles and is based off of GMCs in real life. We have the Boxville, a lot of different variants of this, but I just included it into one. Similar to the Stockade, it has 2 different variants. The Tipper, I think that was a dump truck, if I'm not mistaken from the gameplay. I could be wrong. And then a Camper, just a camper van, nothing special. And the Pony, pretty interesting name for a utility van. Good job, Rockstar. We have our first aircraft manufacturer being Buckingham, and this is what the Wikipedia told me. It's based off of Learjet, Bell, and Airbus helicopters in real life. There's a total of 16 different aircraft that fall under this manufacturer. I chose the Pyro, very fast aircraft, and it's one of the, maybe the only jet in the entire game that can house 2 people. Swift Deluxe, I mean, people know this as the $5 million helicopter that all it has going for it is you can drink some champagne in the back. Alpha Z1, a very good stunt plane. It's kind of goofy to fly around if you don't know how it works, but I still like it. Luxor Deluxe, same thing like the Swift Deluxe, except it's double the price. $10 million golden jet. You can sit in the back, have some champagne, and it's just a money sink. And then the Super Valido. I do believe if you own this helicopter, you can request it for free from your CEO agent. So it can be kind of useful in some situations, but it's just kind of there. But I still like the look of it. You can also get a carbon variant as well, which looks pretty cool. Next up, we got Canis, which is based off of Jeep, and there's 11 vehicles in this category. We have the Terminus, which is one of the most realistic vehicles in this entire game because it just looks the part. I wish there was an older looking Jeep that is this specific model in the game, like the Jurassic Park one, but unfortunately there is not. We have the Camacho, one of the best price to performance off-road vehicles in the entire game. It could arguably be the best one. We have the Bodhi, which is just Trevor's main truck from story mode, so why not put it here. We have the Crusader, which all the military people use. Like if you go in the military base or around it, you'll see some soldiers driving this around. Then we have the Seminole Frontier. I really didn't know what to put here, so I just put this one because I think it looks pretty good, I guess. Very small wheels for what it actually is, but still kind of unique. We have our first manufacturer that only has 1 vehicle. It's Chariot in the game, and I think it's based off of Lincoln in real life. I kind of had to just wing that shit, but it's the hearse in the game. We have Cheval, which you would think is actually Chevrolet in real life, but no, it's Holden. I've never actually heard of this manufacturer in real life, but hey, who knows? Only 5 vehicles in this one. The Taipan, which in my opinion is an ugly ass car. If you like it, good for you. I don't. We have the Marshall, which is one of the few monster trucks in the game, and this one you can make it look many different ways. I think there's like up to 50 different country flags you can order it in. The Picador, which is, if you paid attention, is actually just the Marshall, but as the actual vehicle instead of just a monster truck. The Fugitive, which I honestly can't even remember what that vehicle was. It definitely isn't anything unique. And then we have the Surge, which I think was an electric vehicle, if I'm not mistaken, and it's driven by NPCs, and it's pretty dog shit. I'm not sure how to pronounce this manufacturer. It's either Classique or Classic, whatever it may be, based off of an Oldsmobile in real life, and there's only 1 vehicle on this manufacturer, being the Broadway. I think it looks pretty cool. Nothing really unique about it, other than it's just a very old vehicle, like 1940 in real life, somewhere in that area. It's there if you want it. We do have Coil, which is based off of Tesla and Rimac in real liyou. There is actually 6 vehicles. One of them I almost forgot because it's on the new gen consoles, so I don't actually have that one in the gameplay. But first we have the Raiden, just, you know, electric vehicle. Nothing crazy about it. The Cyclone, which at the time was a pretty decent electric vehicle in the game. Its acceleration is crazy. And on new gen console, you can get a Cyclone 2 with HSW, and it's even crazier. The Rocket Voltic being the first rocket car in the entire game, which is pretty unique. The Brawler, which I don't really understand how this falls under Coil, because it's not electric, it's not a Rimac, I don't know. And then the normal Voltic, based off of a Tesla Roadster in real life, you know, whatever. It's not crazy. The Declasse, which is, I think, the second biggest manufacturer in GTA Online based off of Chevrolet, and there is in total 50 vehicles in the game. The Drift Yosemite, which is one of my favorite vehicles in the entire game because it has a really nice wide body to it. You can get the drift tune on it to make it actually a drift truck. And it's based off of the Huna truck in real life, RIP Ken Block. We have the Dragger, which is one of the best off-road vehicles in the entire game. It could be the best in terms of just pure performance, but it is like 1.7 million. We have the Scramjet, which is everyone's favorite vehicle if you want to just have fun. It can jump, it has boost, and 90% of the time, if you're using this in the Vinewood Hills, you're going to land in a pool. Another F1 car being the DR1. Again, I just added it in here because it's the F1 car, and why not, right? And the last vehicle, I couldn't really decide, so I just put the Walton L35 because I like the look of it. Nice square body truck. I kind of wish I had it, but I do not. Everyone's favorite Dewbauchee manufacturer, based off of Aston Martin. There's only 12 vehicles in this category. I thought there would actually be a lot more, but surprisingly there's not. First up, we have the Champion. It was one of the first cars that was added with the Imani Tech when the DLC came out. So it's one of the better cars in the game if you can get all that shit on it. We have the JB700W, which is just the weaponized version of the base version of this car. It has like machine guns, slick mines. That's as far as it goes, actually. There's nothing else. We have the Wagner, which is a very good price to performance supercar in the game, about 1.5 million. Its handling is almost unmatched, and stock wheels, it actually comes with racing slicks, so it's very unique in that aspect. The Spectre Custom is kind of a forgotten vehicle in the game, and it has a really nice wide body to it. The fitment is just perfect on the car. It's just unfortunate that it doesn't really have anything unique about it other than that. The Massacro, one of the first sports cars that was added to the game that was really good, and I don't think a lot of people will forget about it because it was just a great car. It was like 240k and you cannot go wrong with it. We have Dinka now, which is based off of Hondas, and there's 21 vehicles in this manufacturer. First up, we have the Jester RR. It's a modern Supra, and I think it's okay in the game. If you can design it right, it looks pretty good. But in my opinion, I think they look pretty ugly stock, so... We have the Vito Classic, one of the 2 goat karts in the game. It's just fun to own it. I mean, you get it because it's funny. It's not great in any way. Just a good time. We finally have a Supra, or one of the older ones actually, the Jester Classic. I think this looks really good in the game. It just has a really unfortunate problem with it. Engine resistance, as I know it by that, where the car kind of has a problem with shifting gears, so it'll redline a lot of the time, but I still think it looks good. The Jester is kind of the same thing with the Massacro from earlier. One of the best sports cars in the game when it released, and it was pretty cheap, and it looks pretty good. And you can get a race car variant as well. And then lastly, we have the Go-Go Monkey Ballista. I think the only way you can unlock this vehicle is through Arena War, and it's nearly impossible to find anybody playing that, so this is a pretty rare vehicle in the game. We have Dundreary, which is based off of Lincolns and Mercuries. There's only 6 in the game. We have the Landstalker XL, a long SUV, and it's kind of the extent of it. The Virgo Classic, which I can't even remember in my head what that looks like, but I don't think I like the look of it that much. Normal Landstalker, I believe this is an NPC vehicle. We have the Regina, which I don't even remember what this vehicle is either, so apologies for kind of being on repeat a lot of the time. I think it's another NPC vehicle. And then we have the Stretch, the limo in the game. I believe you can find a pink variant at night, which is pretty rare to find, but other than that, it's just a limo. Nothing crazy. We got Emperor, which is based off of Lexus, and there's only 3 vehicles in this entire game, and I don't really see how these are all based off of Lexus. I know one of them is. The Vector, first up. I think this is based off of a Lexus RCF in real life. I actually had to look it up. Don't worry about that. And I think this vehicle looks really good in the game. We have the ETR1, which came out like 2016 with the RE7B, and it really just wasn't good at all because it was slow. It was fat as well, and the handling wasn't anything crazy. And we have the Habanero. I believe this is just an SUV, and it's driven by NPCs, and it's just kind of shit. We now got Enus, based off of Bentley, Rolls-Royce, and Maybach. 15 vehicles under this manufacturer. First up, we got the Jubilee. I think it's just a good SUV to get. It can have Imani Tech and all that, so naturally, it's just a really good vehicle. The Paragon R looks a lot like a Bentley. You can just really see the resemblance here. You can also get a free armored variant if you have a penthouse and do the Miss Baker missions. We have the Windsor Drop, which I think looks really good in the game. I think it is removed though, so I mean, just my luck. The cars I want, they're removed. We have the Cognoscenti Cabrio. From my knowledge, this is just a very fat vehicle. It looks really strange. I think it's removed off the website, and I don't know a single person who owns this vehicle. And lastly, we have this Super Diamond, a Rolls Royce. A lot of resemblance here. I think it might have also been removed off the websites, and I think it just looks good. There is only 2 Fathoms in the game based off of Infinities in real life, And first up, we have the FR36. Nothing crazy. I mean, I think you can get a drift tune on it. We have the FQ2, which I think is an NPC vehicle. Not anything crazy there either. We do have Gallivanter here, which is just a bunch of Land Rovers, Range Rovers, however you want to think of them. There's 8 in the game, and they're all ballers. So we have the Baller STD. I did not stutter. The Baller ST, the Baller LE, the Baller LE Armored variant, and then the Baller. They all look the same. They all act the same. We have Grotti, which I thought had a lot more vehicles based off of Ferrari and Fiat. Only 19 in the game. Turismo Omaggio, I just like the name of this. It rolls off the tongue really well. We have the Italia RSX, which I thought for the longest time this was a supercar, because in no way, shape, or form is this a sports car. It's like $3.2 million. How? The Italia GTO, one of the best sports cars in the game if you know how to handle it correctly. The Turismo Classique, based off of an F40 in real life. One of the most iconic race cars ever. And the X80 Proto, when this came out, most expensive vehicle at the time. And it's one of the first few vehicles that have active aero when you turn. Hijak is kind of a unique manufacturer in the game based off of Fisker and Vool. I could be wrong about that. Only 2 in the game. The Rustin, I think that's pretty unique in the game and in real life. And then we have the Chameleon, a very forgotten vehicle. It's kind of trash. It's an electric. And I can't think of a third thing to say about it. HVY. A lot of people know vehicles from here because they're heavily armored or they're based off of equipment. In real life, it's Oshkosh and Cat. 14 vehicles. We got the APC. This was in GTA 4. It's kind of a fast tank. You can get a SAM turret on this thing. It can be a monster if you have 2 players. It can also go in the water. It's pretty slow, but it's a good vehicle. We have the Insurgent. Ever since this came out, it has just been one of the top contenders for vehicles that can keep you alive. We have the Cutter, which is used in story mode to cut into a cement wall underground to steal a bunch of gold. And I think you can also use it in the Diamond Casino heist, but it's not practical in any way. You can't own it, and you can see in the gameplay, I can barely even see what I'm doing driving it. We have the dump in this game, the huge dump truck, and it's just really large and in charge. Then we have the forklift. Why can't we have one of these in the game? It's so harmful, yet Rockstar doesn't let us have small things like this. Imponte is based off of Pontiac, and there is 10 vehicles under this manufacturer. The Beater Dukes, which is kind of a unique vehicle, because when you buy it, it actually comes kind of beaten up. You can see some of the panels and all that are damaged. You can make it look clean, but I think it's kind of cool how you can buy a vehicle that's damaged slightly. Kind of like a collector's choice type of thing. You have the Deluxo, which I actually think is based off of a DeLorean in real life, and these are actually DMC, not Pontiacs, so I'm not quite sure why it's under the Imponte, but hey, I ain't a judge. The Ruiner 2000, it is a crazy vehicle. It can jump, it has a parachute, machine guns, missiles, it can stun people if the vehicle is locked to them. It's not really practical anyway because there's a lot of vehicles that can just outclass it in every way possible, but it's still a cool vehicle to have. The Duke of Death is a free vehicle that, well, anybody can get. Heavily armored, very fast, and for a free vehicle that a level 1 can get, I'd say this is a great vehicle. We have the Phoenix, remove vehicle, and it's kind of rare to actually find this. You have to get it off the street now. It has some pretty unique upgrades with it as well. We have Invertero, based off of Corvettes, and there's only 5 in the game. The Coquette D10, based off of a Corvette C8, I believe. The Coquette Blackfin, nothing unique there. Coquette Classic, I like the look of this. I think it's based off like a 70s Corvette. The normal Coquette, which is kind of like a modern day Corvette, like 2015, 2016. And the Coquette D1, I don't have gameplay because it's one of the newer vehicles and I don't have that in the mod menu in story mode, but it still looks pretty cool. We have Jobuilt, which is based off of Peterbilts in real life. They're semis. 6 in the game. We have the Fathom. I mean, there's nothing else really there. We have the Hauler Custom, which is the cab to the MOC. One of 2 cabs. The Phantom Custom is the other cab. These are the 2 most strongest vehicles in the entire game, surviving up to like 100 homing missiles, and they're just monsters on the street. Phantom Wedge, it's a semi with a huge wedge in the front. You can just ramp cars out of the way, and it's very useful for Cayo Perico heist. And then the Rubble, another dump truck that exists. You can drive it if you want. Now we have Karin. No, not this, but this. Based off of Toyotas and Subarus. 26 in the game. We have the Vivanite, really expensive van, $2 million in the game. Yep. If you don't play the game, you're going to be questioning, what the hell are you talking about? $2 million for a minivan? Yes, sir. The Calico CTF, one of the fastest accelerating vehicles in the whole game. Its top speed isn't really that high, but it kind of makes up for it in its acceleration. The Everon just has really huge tires, and I really like it a lot for that. Has a lot of customization as well. The Technical Aqua, when this came out, I'm pretty sure that it was the first vehicle that can go on the water without getting destroyed. Then we have the Armored Kuruma. I mean, everyone has this. Nearly 100% bulletproof. It's just a great car. Now, the Kraken, I do think there was in total 3 in the game, but for some reason, it wasn't telling me. So I'm going to only name off 1 here because that was the only one in the mod menu, but there probably is 3. Based off of Triton submarines, I think. And it's the Avisa. You can get this through the Kasatka, and it's a waste of money. You get the Sparrow instead. We got Lampadati, which has a lot of different real-life vehicles built into them. Maserati, Alfa Romeo, Lancia, and De Tomaso. 14 in the game. First up, we got the Corsita. I like the name of this car. The look is pretty cool. That's it. We have the Toro, I believe is a boat. I'm not sure where this came from. I don't know why the boat's in the Lampadati class, but hey, we take that. Got the Casco, kind of a throwback to the Heist DLC. Prison Break, Rashkasvi's getaway vehicle. We have the Komoda. I think this was a 4-door sports car, if I'm not mistaken, in the gameplay. I can't really remember. I get it mixed up with something else. We have the Viserys here as well. Now, the thing with this car is there were so many people that asked me what the name of this car is in one of my videos, and it's the Viserys. It's a removed vehicle, so if you want it, which a lot of people usually do, I'm sorry, can't get it right now. We got LCC, which is based off of Orange County Choppers and West Coast Choppers. Only 4 in the game. We have the Averis. There's a motorcycle. We have the Sanctus, which I think is the only vehicle in the entire game that comes with colored headlights. Pretty cool. We have the Innovation, and then the Hexer. They're not really unique. We have Maibatsu, which is based off of Mitsubishi. Only 10 in the game. The Monstro City. This looks pretty cool. I wish I owned one, but I don't. I think it's like 1.7 million or somewhere around that area. Penumbra FF. I actually like the look of this a lot. I think it's based off of an Eclipse in real life, and they just did a really good job on this car. The Mule Custom is one of the delivery vehicles you use for the nightclub. Not sure why I chose it, but I did. The Manchez is kind of a unique bike where it can do a wheelie at a very, very low speed and a very high speed, so it's kind of used for that. And then the Sanchez, I mean, it's just a dirt bike. Came out with the release of the game. Can't really go wrong with it. This next one being Mammoth, and you might call me crazy, but it's based off of Hummer and whatever the hell AM General is. A lot of these are not going to be Hummers, but there's 11 in the game. First up, we have the Avenger. It's a special vehicle like the Mobile Operations Center and the Terabyte mentioned earlier, and the propellers can kind of look like a pair of boobs when you fly it at night. The Patriot Military Spec is a very cool Hummer in the game. I wish there was more Hummers like it. And it's just a very heavily armored vehicle. The Patriot Stretch, a limo Hummer. You don't really see too many of these. I think I've seen like 1 in real life. I think it's kind of stupid to have a Hummer as a limo, but I'm not one to judge. The only jetpack in the game being the Thruster. I remember a long time ago when the game came out, people were trying to solve the Mount Chiliad mystery and like how to get a jetpack and all that shit. Well, here it is. It's a DLC and nothing to do with the Mount Chiliad mystery. We got the fan favorite Hydra. It came out 2015. It's a VTOL jet, so it can take off like a helicopter, fly like a normal jet. It has explosive cannons, missiles that aren't that good. And a lot of people probably don't know this, but it also has a hover mode speed glitch, so you can get across the map in like 1 minute if you're doing it. So it is fast. We got Maxwell only having 2 vehicles, and they're based off of like Vauxhall, Ariel, and Opel. We have Asbo. This one can have some very stupid customizations like slam to the ground with a bunch of camber angle, and it can just look stupid. And we have the Vagrant, which is a very good off-road vehicle. I don't know what it's doing next to the Asbo, but it has no business being with that shit. MTL is based off of Mack trucks in real life, only 10 in the game. First up, we have the Cerberus, an arena war vehicle, and it is a pretty penny. But if you get all the upgrades on it, it is very fun to use. If you get like shunt boost, you can launch vehicles really far away. But it's kind of impractical to use, to be honest. You're the Wastelander, only about like $600,000, and it's fun to use. You may think, can I put a vehicle on the back? Absolutely not. Rockstar does not want you using anything that involves towing in any capacity. It is a no-no in this game. We have the Dune, which at first glance, you would not think it is that good at off-roading, but it is surprisingly amazing at off-roading. We have the Brigade, which when it came out, people thought it was like an armored garbage truck, which I don't know if it really even is anymore, but it later became the Acid Lab business. Then we got the fire truck. I mean, it's a fire truck. You got some sirens. It's kind of fast, and you got a hose on the top to spray them bitches down. Nagasaki, I really like saying that manufacturer in the game. Based off of, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this shit, Kawasaki and Yamaha. 16 in the game. First up, we have the Shinobi, one of the fastest bikes in the game. $3.2 million. I don't know if it really justifies it that much. The Havoc, which actually is a helicopter. I think the smallest one in the whole game. The Shotaro, very good bike overall, $2.2 million, and it's pretty much on par with the Shinobi. A lot of the bikes in this game go really fast, regardless of their price. And this one's cool. I mean, it's a Tron bike. Why not get it? We have the Dinghy, a boat, actually, and kind of utilized a lot in the game in many different ways, like cell missions, enemies chase you, heists. You see it a lot throughout the game. And then the Hot Rod Blazer. The only time players are ever going to see this is if you are in story mode. Other than that, I don't know in any situation where you're ever going to see a Hot Rod Blazer. Obey. This is fairly obvious what this is based off of. Audis. And 11 in the game. A 10 off wide body. I mean, really clean wide body. The fitment's great. The car looks good. We have the 8F Drafter. In my opinion, one of the best sounding cars in the whole game. It looks really detailed. You can make it look really good. Off-road vehicle, on-road vehicle. It's just great. The 9F, you'll see a lot of NPCs driving this. You cannot steal it off the street because it's too expensive. You know, it's just one of the starter vehicles. Everyone's going to drive it if you play GTA for the first time. The Tailgater S, which I don't have a whole lot to say. I kind of added it for the sake of just having another vehicle. Then we have the Omnis. This looks pretty cool as a rally car, added with cunning stunts. And, you know, it's okay. Next up, we got Ocelot, based off of Jaguars and Lotuses. 13 in the game. R88. I think this is an Indy car, not a F1 car. We have the Jugular. Similar case with the 8F Drafter. It sounds really good. You can make it a rally car, on-road car, whatever you want to do. It's got you covered. The Pariah, being one of the fastest cars in the game, similar to the Itali GTO mentioned before. If you can get its handling down to a T, it'll win you a lot of races. First submarine vehicle in the game. Well, let me take that back. First submarine car, 4 wheels in the game, the Stromberg. It is really slow underwater, but it was able to survive a lot of homing missiles from like oppressors and stuff. So it was actually used in the PvP meta for a little bit. Kind of got replaced by the Toreador. We'll get to that later. And then the XA21. I think a lot of people forget about this vehicle. It sounds really good. It has really good traction as well. And it's kind of unique as a vehicle overall. We got Overflod based off of Koenigsegg's in real life. Only 8 in the game. I wish there was more. We got the Entity MT based off of a Jesko or Jesko, whatever, wherever you're from. It looks good in the game. It is pretty fast, but I wish they kind of did some more fine detail to it because there's something about it that just doesn't seem right with me. The Xeno, I believe in real life, the speed about this was lied about, like going like 330 miles an hour or something like that. And it still was like barely 300 miles an hour or something. It was still really fast, but I don't get why they had to lie about it for like a land speed record. I don't know. Weird. The Entity XXR, I'm not exactly sure what this is based off of. Obviously, it's a Koenigsegg, but I'm not sure what model. It looks good in the game, but it has engine resistance, so it's constantly going to redline. I'm just trying to shift gears. We have the Autarch, which I don't know how this is in the Koenigsegg manufacturer, but hey, it's here. I like it. It sounds good. It performs well. And then the Entity XF, the first Koenigsegg in the game. Again, I don't really know what this is specifically based off of, but I like it. It's kind of like a fan favorite for old GTA players. We have Pegassi, which surprisingly doesn't have as many vehicles as I thought, because there's a lot of vehicles that fall under this manufacturer. There's in total 30, and it's based off of Lamborghini, Ducati, and Pagani. We got Toreador. As I mentioned before, it replaced the Stromberg. It's a submarine car. It has machine guns, homing missiles, boost even. That's kind of what the Stromberg was missing, so it actually goes pretty fast underwater. And it doesn't count as a special vehicle, so you can use it in a lot of different situations. The Tauros is one of the best SUVs in the game. It's fast, its handling is kind of hard to get used to, but it is good, and its braking is also really good as well. We have everyone's favorite Oppressor Mark II. You're either one side of the coin. You hate this because it's just Griefer's best friend, and you never want to fucking use it. I'm kind of in that situation, I guess. And then the other side of the coin is people just use it for transportation. It's convenient. And I'm also kind of that side of the coin. I never really use it, but hey, if I need to use it, I will. The Fagio mod. I don't show it in the gameplay, but you can put like so many mirrors on this thing, so many headlights. And apparently it's really reminiscent of a trend that was in like the 80s or something, where people used to put a lot of different like headlights or mirrors on mopeds, I guess. That's what somebody told me. So hey, that's pretty cool to know that. And the fan favorite is Zentorno. I can't really not put this on here. It made a huge impact on the game. Everybody knows it. It's iconic. If you don't play GTA, you probably recognize this vehicle. Panad, I didn't even know this was a manufacturer until I made this video, but it's based off of a Renault. Only one in the game being the La Carouse. It's an electric car. It looks cool, but I don't like electric cars because I like hearing that engine, that nice growl. I don't like hearing silence, and it kind of hurts my ears hearing an electric car in the game. Not fun to drive. Pifster's next up, being based off of Porsches, and there's only 11 in the game. It's kind of weird how there's not as many vehicles as you'd think there would be. Got the Astron, sort of like an SUV type of Porsche. I have not actually seen one of these before in real life, surprisingly. And I don't really have anything notable to say about it because I don't have one in the game and I haven't used it, but I still wanted to put it here. The Comet S2 is a really good vehicle in the game. It's one of the few vehicles that have a stance option, so in the interaction menu you can lower it or raise it, and when you lower it, it gets a really high top speed, but the handling suffers a lot. Comet SR is pretty similar to the normal Comet, just a little bit more updated, and it looks pretty cool. You can remove the spoiler off of it, and something about it, it just looks really clean. Maybe it's the curves on the back, you know, like it kind of perks out a little bit. The Comet Safari is an off-road Porsche, rally Porsche, however you want to think about it. In the game, it's a cool concept. It performs well, but the biggest flaw with it is the camera, for some reason, likes to go almost directly behind the car. Whenever you're playing the game, you notice the camera's kind of like up and behind the car, so you can see like in front of you, but for some reason the camera's like nearly behind the car, so it's hard to drive this thing. Then we have the 811. A lot of OG players know this. I believe way back in the day, there was a lot of people that had modded 811s that went like really fast. And it was kind of like the car to own if you wanted to have a fast vehicle. But still to this day, I like it a lot. This manufacturer, I didn't even have a single clue what it would be in real life, but it's Princip in the game. This might be wrong, but based off of Ducati, and holy shit, I'm about to butcher this. Piaggio. Only 5 in the game. First up, we got the Deveste 8. One of my favorite cars. May look long and stupid and hard and stupid and long and stupid, you know what I'm saying? For its price and performance, it is one of the better cars in the game because its handling is so good, its top speed is so good. We have the Diablos. It is a really weird looking bike in the game. Then you have the custom variant of it, which looks a lot better. I don't know too much about the Diablos. I don't own one. We have the Electro, which is the first boost vehicle in the game. Earlier, the Rocket Voltic was the first rocket car. This is the first vehicle to have some sort of boosting mechanism. Kind of weird, you have to like brake for the boost to recharge, which is kind of counterintuitive because you want to go fast, you don't want to brake, but you know, whatever. Then we have the Nemesis, just kind of a generic bike. Nothing crazy about it. Trojan, based off of McLaren's, and there was only 7 in the game. How? How's there only 7? I don't fucking know. First up, we have the PR4, an F1 car in the game. Just added it for the sake of adding it. The Emirates, based off of a 2019 McLaren Senna. It is really phenomenal in this game. Top speed, great. Handling, great. Looks, great. And it's one of the rare cars, I think maybe the only one that has glass on the bottom of the door. Pretty cool. The Italia GTB, you know, I had something to say about it, but I honestly can't think of anything cool. I believe it might have been the first supercar in Benny's. A lot of people might have forgot about the Tyrus. I didn't even know this was a McLaren for a long time, but it is, and I can kind of see it now. I like it. It sounds nice. It came out with cunning stunts alongside the ETR1 and the RE7B, and then the T20. I mean, the fan favorite. Everybody has this car. It's kind of like the Zentorno. It's just iconic. First active aero vehicle in the whole game. $2.2 million. Its speed is still pretty good. Its handling is still pretty good. And if you don't own one, you must own one. We got Ruin, which is based off of Lada and Sherp. Only 3 in the game. The Kasatka. I don't really know if this actually fits under Lada or Sherp. It is still here, man. KO Perico is great. The Zaba, I know, is a Sherp in real life. It's kind of goofy. It can drive on water, as you're seeing in the gameplay. One of the most armored vehicles in the whole game. But other than that, it is just dog shit. Then we have the Sheberick. This is based off of a Lada. And you can do some really unique features to it where it can get cardboard, like cardboard spoiler, splitter, some engine intakes, and it's just one of the goofiest vehicles in the whole game. Shyster, which is an interesting manufacturer in GTA Online, based off of Chrysler and AMC, only 2. The Deviant, which is a custom-made vehicle in real life. As far as I know, it's not an actual real car made from any specific manufacturer, but it's a really cool vehicle. I think it's primarily based off of a Barracuda. We have the Fusillade. Street car. You can get it for free. It can kind of look cool, but it kind of sucks. We got Shih Tzu now. seems to be just a boat and motorcycle type of manufacturer in the game, based off of Suzuki in real life. Only 10. The long fin, it's pretty much the best boat in the game. It goes really fast. That's kind of its whole thing. If you do Cayo Perico with the long fin, you know that it's a pretty good boat. The Hokuto Jag, one of the best bikes in the whole game, if not the best, if you can get HSW on it. Jetmax, I think this boat looks pretty cool. There's like an antennas on the back. That's the extent of it. And the Sun Trap, just added a different sake of adding it. And the PCJ 600, again, another bike I just kind of added just because. Why not? Might sound weird, but we got Speedophile. I know what you're thinking. Based off of Bombardier Recreational Products. I would assume they make jet skis in real life. Only one, the Sea Shark. It's just a jet ski, nothing crazy. Stanley, based off of John Deere and Fordson. Only one in the game. It's the Fieldmaster. It's the tractor that you would see throughout like sandy shores or on the beaches. Only one Tundra in the game based off of an Alpine. It's the Panther, whatever. Truffade, Bugatti, we made it. Only 5 in the game as well. First up, we got the Thrax. The unique thing about this is if you win it off the podium in the Diamond Casino, it can come with black stock wheels, which look really cool on it. I actually do own one, so I guess that's a plus. We have the Nero, which is one of my favorite looking vehicles in the game. It has active aero. It looks mean as hell in the front because it's based off of a Bugatti Chiron. And the Nero Custom, it's a Benny's conversion Nero. It gets like a pretty cool spoiler. The Z-Type is interesting. In story mode, it costs $10 million, kind of like the luxury car to own in story mode, but in online, it's only $950K. When it released, it was the best sports classic car in the game. It was unmatched. Nothing could come close to it. And I think nowadays it's I guess. And lastly, the Adder. Came out with the game, $1 million, the best car in the game when it came out. The game came out, actually. And it still looks really, really good. It aged super well. Ubermacht, BMW. They look really good in this game. There's only 15. Sentinel Classic wide body. I wish I had one of these. I don't know why I don't just convert one. I got it ready. It looks so good. The wide body is perfect. The fitment is perfect. The design, chef's kiss, man. The SC1 is the complete opposite of that, though. What the hell are they doing with this car? The rear of it looks, like I have a better word, dumb. And the front of it looks mean. Interesting vehicle. Sentinel XS. You can find a modded version of this vehicle on the road near the Eclipse Towers at night, and everyone kind of just knows what this vehicle is. The Cypher is sort of like the SC1 where it looks goofy in the back but looks mean in the front, but it looks good all around. It's not like just dog shit. I like driving this occasionally. I wish the back didn't look so smooth. I wish it kind of had like cut edges instead of smooth, if that's the right word I'm looking for. Lastly, we have the Rebla GTS. As far as I know, it's a good SUV in the game, but I do not own one. The biggest manufacturer in all of GTA Online is Vapid, based off of Fords. There's 58 different vehicles in this manufacturer, and these are the 5 I'm showing. Dominator GTT, one of my favorite vehicles in real life. I think it's like a 1970 fastback or whatever. Oh my god, I don't know how I'm forgetting the name of it. It's one of my favorite cars. But you guys know what I'm talking about. We have the Slam Truck, which is another case like the Waste Center from earlier. You would think you can tow a vehicle on it, but you'd be so mistaken. The Trophy Truck is one of the best off-roaders. You can see in the gameplay right away. I can almost go up a damn near 90-degree angle with this thing, and it has no problem with it at all. And it's all around just a great performing truck. The FMJ is a Ford GT in the game, and I think it's one of 2. The other one being the Bullet. I wish there was more in the game, some older designed ones, maybe even newer designed ones, but there just isn't. We have the Guardian, which in my opinion is kind of like a forgotten truck. I forgot it for a while, and I don't even know if it's removed, but it is such a cool truck. It's so realistic. There's so many features to it. It has so much detail. For it coming out in 2015, it was way ahead of its time. Vom Feuer is a weird manufacturer in the game. It actually is the weapon manufacturer, like assault rifles, snipers, all that stuff. Only one quote-unquote vehicle, the anti-aircraft trailer. One of the strongest vehicles in the game if you can get the flak cannon on it. It can destroy almost anything, even in a mobile operations center. It can destroy it so fast. We got a Volcar, only 5 in the game based off of Volvos. The Warner HKR. I find vehicles like this kind of stupid, like they're reminiscent of trucks, but they're low to the ground. I can understand why people like these, but I just will never understand the point of them. Nebula Turbo, it's a pretty cool vehicle in the game. They added a drift spec to it. You can get some pretty cool designs on it and all that, but it's nothing crazy. The Fagaloa, not my first choice, but I know you can get some pretty cool designs in this as well. The Warner is a really cool looking vehicle. I really like the design of it, and I think you can get it for free off the street. Then we have the Ingot, which is just an absolutely awful vehicle. You can get it off the street for free, but I would never go get it. We have our last manufacturer that only has one vehicle, being Visor, and it's based off of a Spiker, whatever that vehicle is, and it's the Neo. I wouldn't say it's anything crazy in the game. It looks kind of cool with like the rear tail light goes across the entire back of it into like kind of a U shape upside down, and it's pretty unique. Weenie is based off of Mini Coopers and Morrises, only 6 in the game. We have the Issy Rally, looks good. I mean, it's just a Mini Cooper. The Dynasty, which I think is the Morris. I believe this can look like a taxi in the game. There's a taxi livery. You can get like taxi lights on it too, which is pretty cool. The Issy Sport, again, a pretty cool Mini Cooper if you want it. And then there's an Arena War Issy as well. People used to use this as duplication cars, like where duplicate a bunch of them, get a bunch of money, millions of dollars in like 5 minutes. It's just stupid that people do that. And then the Issy Classic, just a classic Mini Cooper, an older one. I think it looks pretty cool. We have Western, which is a mix of bikes and aircraft, based off of Boeing and Sikorsky in real life. 18 in the game. First off, we have the Reaver, one of the fastest bikes in the game, similar to the Shinobi from earlier. We have the Rampant Rocket, which it is a very strange vehicle in the game. We have the Death Bike. This, technically speaking, is the fastest motorcycle in the game if you get NOS on it, nitrous, since it's a Arena War vehicle, but outside of that, you know, it's pretty good. We have the Rogue, which surprisingly is a very fast aircraft for it being a propeller plane, and it has an explosive cannon on it too, and I believe it can get cluster bombs. Seabreeze, I believe, is one of the very few planes that can actually land in the water. It's fast, it can get cluster bombs, and there's a lot of different weird situations where you wouldn't expect it to be good at, but it is very good at situations that you wouldn't expect it to be good at. What a tongue twister that was. Got Willard in the game, based off of some Buicks, and these are some really goofy vehicles in the game. There's only 4. We have the Eudora. Honestly, don't remember off the top of my head what this even looks like, but you'll see in the gameplay. We have the Faction Custom Donk, and look, I know some people prefer this. I honestly don't understand. I think it looks stupid. I've even heard that doing this to a vehicle makes the handling terrible, makes the ride terrible, like it's really bumpy, and it just isn't something you should do to a car like that. I don't know. I don't get it. Then we have the normal Faction, which looks pretty cool. Nothing too interesting there. They're like a 1987 Buick, somewhere in that area. And then the Faction Custom is just a lowrider version of the normal Faction, so. And then our very last manufacturer is Zachronium, based off of Diamond Star Motors, Saturn, and Eagle. Only 3 in the game. The Journey 2 is just a camper van that is more updated. The Stratum, a weird type of car. You can make it look really cool, but it also looks kind of terrible. You can get it for free off the street and, you know, whatever. And the normal Journey. It is a rusted out meth lab camper van. That's kind of it. So that has been all 60 different vehicle manufacturers, and if I sound a little bit different, it's because I am now back from my 9-day vacation. I made a community post about it, and, you know, I'm back, so I guess that's a good thing. And I don't really have anything to say at the moment. I'm going to make another separate video, probably in the next couple of days, of something I have realized. I don't want to go too much in detail because it's actually a really important video to me, so maybe make sure you guys look out for that. But again, if you got any cool ideas I should try for, you know, a GTA video, let me know. Join my Discord server or something like that, or DM me, whatever you want to do, or comment section, you know. But yeah, that's been it. I'll see you guys in the next GTA video I make. Peace out, everybody. I love every single one of you.